FlowChat Connector, what's happening? Sean here at you with another FlowChat sales training tip. Today, we're going to talk about the secret to speed reading for sales knowledge. And it's probably something different than you've never, ever heard before. So you're going to want to stay tuned. See you in a second. What's happening, FlowChat Connector? Kapow! Another high-ticket tune-up coming your way today. Excited to be here with you. Today's Thursday, and as we know, Thursday is statistically the best day to do prospecting and sales work. So if you're not out there closing deals or doing any prospecting, please do yourself a favor and take the next hour after this session and go do it. Just send out 10 messages to 10 people that you think are a good fit for your business and start new conversations, because that is the lifeblood of winning. But today we're going to talk about something I think is really, really valuable. We're going to talk about the secret to speed reading for sales knowledge. Now, a lot of people always come to me and say, Sean, like, I see you have bookshelves all over your house and all over your offices and everywhere else that you are, and it seems like you just read all the time. How do you find the time to read? In fact, Amy came with me with a question. She said, Sean, I purchased 10 sales books 3 months ago and haven't read any of them because it seems like a daunting task to get started. Any thoughts? Well, yes, I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I'm going to share exactly how I do this. And this is something that's really valuable for a lot of people. By the way, this is a conversation, so please drop a comment below, like this video, share it out to someone else that might need this information, and of course, subscribe to the channel. But let's get started. I'm going to talk a little bit about how I learned this, because I think it starts with my personal self-development journey. See, back in the day, when Melissa and I started our self-development journey together, we bought Tai Lopez's 67 Steps. And at the end of one of the bonuses in that program was this: here's how you can read books way faster and get the knowledge. Because let's be real, most every single person that's online right now today is regurgitating material that somebody else greater and smarter than us, we always stand on the shoulders of giants, as they say. Somebody from today is taking the knowledge from way back when, repackaging it up, moving it forward. Great example, Russell Brunson. A lot of his stuff is not new content. It's Dan Kennedy stuff repurposed, plus the influence from all the other people that he's learned from. And so with that piece of knowledge known and said, and it's really true, because if you looked at, one of the things I do is I geek out on selling systems. I love sales. So I look at different selling systems and I look at the elements, and 90% of the time I find that there's a tremendous amount of these elements that are in every single selling system that's out there. And so when I realized that, I was like, oh yeah, this makes a lot of sense to me, because now I know that all the people that are teaching sales today probably are regurgitating information that was from somebody before them. And so then I go back and I look at those other things. And so when it comes to reading books, one of the things I found in that 67 Steps program that I was watching from Tai Lopez was read a book a day. And I was like, how do you read a book a day? Like, that's a lot to do in a single day. And I'm pretty fast at reading, but at the same time, like, I couldn't really read like a full 200-page book in a day. And I was starting to watch Tai Lopez. And of course, he has a strategy of how to read a full book a day, and he does it. And he actually does a book a day, and he crushes, and like, total respect to that guy. But he also gave some other like pro tips of how to do things when it comes to reading that are going to be valuable. So let's say, for example, I have all these books. These are the books that I read and reread and have currently been reading. I got a bunch of them, right? So it's like all these different books here. And how on earth am I actually reading a book a day? Well, let's take this one, Oren Klaff's, one of the recent ones I read called Flip the Script. Really good book if you like copywriting. Oren Klaff also wrote something called Pitch Anything. This is his second book. Dude is a superstar. So Oren, if you're listening to this, dude, thank you so much for writing this book. I think there's gold in here. And so here is my pro tip number one, the book a day strategy. And I want you to take this strategy and deploy it. I know you already probably have books around you in your home office or in your office or wherever you're at right now. And this is something that you can deploy right now today. So here's how to use the book a day strategy. Of course, you're going to have a new book. You're probably going to read the back cover and learn everything there is to learn about the author. If there's an about the author, usually I dive into the author. I would look through the table of contents. And then here's what I would do. When I get to the table of contents, let me just find it here. Now I've got this big, long table of contents. The first thing that I do is I look in this book and I say, which chapter is the most interesting to me? Because I look at chapter titles and I'll say, okay, let's go with chapter 2, right? So then I flip over here to chapter 2. Here, starts here on this page, which is I don't know, page 17. So I open to page 17 and I just start reading the book, right? Normal speed, whatever you're doing. And you start going through the book. And what you do is you read the pages until something prolific hits you. In this case, there's something in chapter 2 called a tip-off, a status tip-off, right? And when I read it, I was like, whoa, this is really good. So this is the one thing that stuck in my brain and I closed the book. That is the book a day strategy. What I mean by that is now I learned how to do this status tip-off move from the book that I just read. It took me maybe 10, 15 minutes to read 10 pages or so of this book. And I'm like, whoa, that's such a powerful strategy. I absorb it, right? And I've learned it now. And now there's the next step that we have to go do is we have to actually apply that one thing in our business today. However you're doing it today is the good thing to do. So if I have a status tip-off move and I know what it sounds like, then I'm going to go in one of my next sales meetings and next one of my leadership meetings and whatever meeting that you're going into, go and use the strategy from the book, because those who practice it are going to memorize it. When you memorize it, it gets really easy to do. So read the book until you find something that's prolific, absorb that, and then go use the strategy in real life. That's going to give you a great amount of application, and you're going to remember the hell out of that way better than anything else. So that is the book a day strategy. And then secondly, here's the other one. Learn for two. So once you've read the tip, you've absorbed it, you've applied it for your own life, go teach it to somebody else. Learn this one from Steve Larson. Love that guy. He's a brother to me. And he always used to say, learn for two, learn for two. And I was like, Steve, what do you even mean? And he's like, well, when you learn something out of a book that's awesome and it works for you, you should go teach it to someone else, because when you teach, you remember. And it's always about repetition. Tom Hopkins says the mother of all learning is repetition, right? And so we need to give ourselves exposure and repetition in whatever it is that we're doing. And that is how we do it. So first, again, pick up any book you want, go to the page that's interesting to you, start reading until something prolific hits you, absorb that concept, go apply it in your business at your next business meeting, whatever else you have, and then teach that concept later on to somebody else that's either in your organization or maybe a client or a prospect or something like that. If the conversation comes up, oh man, I just read this fascinating tip. This is what this thing is. You should try it. It's a pretty amazing move. And it's great value that you can deliver to prospects and clients and internal team. It's helped you add value to the room. You're bringing some knowledge that they probably didn't know before. And better yet, it's tying or standing you on the shoulders of other giants who have written really smart things. Because typically people don't write a book called The Closers unless they've closed a lot of deals. So we're probably pretty sure that it's going to be some good information in that one, like as an example, right? So, and with that said, those are my pro tips. So use this book a day strategy. I do it each and every day. You always catch me reading at least 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes a day. Find one thing that's prolific, absorb it, use it, and then share it with somebody else. That's the formula. And I hope that's been helpful to you, because it's really helpful to me in my life. And with that said, you've just been tuned up. That's how you do speed reading for sales knowledge. Until next time, we'll talk soon.